I'm Pastor Misty Howick, and this is Wisdom of the Proverbs. We will be reading a chapter every day. We happen to be on chapter 7, and so we will read that together, and then I will just have a couple of comments. Today will be pretty short. There are over 23 verses. There are actually 27 verses, but there's a lot of repetition from today that was in other chapters. So I don't have a lot to add that is informative on trying to interpret this or get the contextual information out of it because it's very similar to the chapter that was just before. I hope you all are having a wonderful Lent. You'll see that the theme of temptation is still strong in this particular chapter of Proverbs. And the question exists, what can we learn out of Proverbs? Or is this a book that, we can read once and then put it away and not get it out again? So I am interested in hearing your comments. You can put your comments in the comment section here on Facebook. This will also be posted to YouTube as well. So feel free to comment or send me an email at mistyhowick@dscumc.net or mistyhowick@gmail.com. So here is chapter 7, The False Attractions of Adultery. My child, keep my words and store up my commandments with you. Keep my commandments and live. Keep my teachings as the apple of your eye. Bind them on your fingers. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Say to wisdom, you are my sister, and call insight your intimate friend, that they may keep you from the loose woman, from the adulteress with her smooth words. For at the window of my house I looked out through my lattice, and I saw among the simple ones, I observed among the youths, a young man without sense, passing along the street near her corner, taking the road to her house. In the twilight, in the evening, at the time of night and darkness, then a woman comes toward him decked out like a prostitute, with hidden intent. She is loud and wayward, her feet do not stay at home, now in the street, now in the squares, and at every corner she lies in wait. She seizes him and kisses him, and with impudent face she says to him, I had to offer sacrifices, and today I have paid my vows. So now I have come out to meet you, to seek you eagerly, and I have found you. I have decked my couch with coverings, colored spreads of Egyptian linen. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us take our fill of love until morning. Let us delight ourselves with love. For my husband is not at home, he has gone on a long journey. He took a bag of money with him, he will not come home until full moon. With much seductive speech she persuades him. With her smooth talk she compels him. Right away he follows her and goes like an ox to the slaughter, or bounds like a stag toward the trap, until an arrow pierces its entrails. He is like a bird rushing into a snare, not knowing that it will cost him his life. And now, my children, listen to me and be attentive to the words of my mouth. Do not let your hearts turn aside to her ways. Do not stray into her paths, for many are those she has laid low, and numerous are her victims. Her house is the way to Sheol, going down to the chambers of death. So very happy chapter here in Proverbs. A lot of description about a particular woman who is the temptress in this story, who is snaring young, innocent men. I don't like to think about the implications of all of this. We've already talked about the context of this idea of the loose woman being the influence of outside cultures and the temptation of sexual immorality for the people coming back, mostly the lords, the wealthy, the rich, coming back out of the exile, Babylonian exile, back to Jerusalem, where foreign people have made their home for a little while, who just have different values, different perspectives. There's that fear of being led to temptation, but I think it also was probably a real temptation. And since this is seemingly written by men for men, this is the attitude of we need to protect our men from the consequences of adultery. And the implications, though, if we take this so literally, is that we start painting all women, right, with this brush of a temptress, and men as innocent you know, to and powerless to temptation. And I think I see a lot of that in society already. So I don't like those implications. But we have already talked about that, so let's move on to something a little bit. I want to move on to the phrase apple of my eye. So in the first couple of verses, it says, keep my words, store up my commandments, keep my commandments and live. Bind them on your fingers, write them on the tablet of your heart. Here we go. Verse 2. Yep. Keep my commandments and live. Keep my teachings as the apple of your eye. It's really funny because my husband and I were commenting on that particular idiom recently. I've heard it quite a bit, and I was wondering where it came from. So this gave me an opportunity to look into its origins. And since it's here, and we know that in Proverbs, they were writing in ancient Hebrew, the question is that what it is translated as, apple of my eye? And it isn't. Instead of apple, it is actually the little man of my eye, or they mean the center of your eye. So the idea originates back to ancient Hebrew, but the word apple was omitted and instead replaced with little man. Now, I'm going to have to do some more digging to figure out why little man is the word that's used here, or that's the meaning of the Hebrew word that is used instead of apple. But the point is, and this is the meaning that we still have for apple of our eye today, is that is the one thing that you kind of live for. That is the thing that is most important to you, and it is the center of your eye. It's the thing that you focus on, that is focused on. There you go. So I thought that was very interesting. I've read some commentaries on this chapter and other chapters where the loose woman is talked about. And in this chapter in particular, there seems to be kind of a consensus among commentators that it's also a warning to not place yourself into temptation's path. If you know that something is going to be bad for you, keep a distance away from it. If you know it's going to lead to your either sinning or your falling back on a bad habit or doing something that you're going to regret later, just don't even get close to it. We are often in my household with my husband talking to our kids about staying as far away from that line as possible. So we'll set a line as a boundary. For instance, don't roughhouse with your sister, okay? Or don't roughhouse with your brother, right? Don't roughhouse with each other. And sometimes the kids will get as close up to that boundary as possible. So they will be next to each other, like putting their hands near each other or instigating in some way. And we're like, no, just stay away from that line entirely. Don't even get close to the temptation because the intent is still there, right? The intent to cause harm or to be rough or to be silly with each other, that still exists. So I think that is a good message to have right now and take away from chapter 7 is if you know you have trouble in such and such a place, don't go there. This is particularly helpful for any of us who are experiencing addiction. If you are an alcoholic, you don't go to parties where there's going to be alcohol, or for a time you try to stay away from friends who will drink around you or invite you to drink with them. So the question is, what is your temptation? And how will you set yourself up for success with those temptations? What will you do to stay as far away from them as possible? So I hope that you have a wonderful day. This is it for until Monday. And then on Monday, I will be reporting to you from Tucson, Arizona. And we will have our 2 o'clock sessions together. And I look forward to being with you then. God bless you.